Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Chapter 18, text number 61. Those who know can chant with us. Ishvara sarva bhutanam.
Ishvara sarva bhutanam.
Nirdeshe Arjuna tishtati. Brahmayan sarva bhutani.
Brahmayan sarva bhutani.
Yantrarudhani mayaya.
Yantrarudhani mayaya.
Translation. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. Purport. Arjuna was not the Supreme Knower, and his decision to fight or not to fight was confined to his limited discretion. Please do line by line. Lord Krishna instructed that the individual is not all in all. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, or He Himself, Krishna, as the localized Supersoul, sits in the heart directing the living being. After changing bodies, the living entity forgets his past deeds, but the Supersoul, as the knower of the past, present and future, remains the witness of all his activities. Therefore, all the activities of living entities are directed by this Supersoul. The living entity gets what he deserves and is carried by the material body, which is created in the material energy under the direction of the Supersoul. As soon as a living entity is placed in a particular type of body, he has to work under the spell of that bodily situation. A person situated in a high-speed motor car goes faster than one seated in a slower car, though the living entities, the drivers, may be the same. Similarly, by the order of the Supreme Soul, material nature fashions a particular type of body to a particular type of living entity, so that he may work according to his past desires. The living entity is not independent. One should not think himself independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The individual is always under the Lord's control. Therefore, one's duty is to surrender, and that is the injunction of the next verse. This verse is coming in a series of verses leading to the conclusion of Bhagavad-gita. Bhagavad-gita has a conclusion. Actually, in English, the word conclusion can mean just more or less the end. So, this is almost the end of Bhagavad-gita. But conclusion also means the Siddhanta is the word given in Sanskritam. It means after considering all the different points to come to to ascertain what is actually the essence. So now the essence of Bhagavad-gita is about to be spoken, and Krishna is preparing Arjuna for that. Krishna in this verse is summarizing two important points that have been made throughout the Bhagavad-gita, and he's bringing these 2 points together with another point that is also stressed throughout Bhagavad-gita. So one point is that the living beings, the jivas, are situated within various bodies according to their karma. And in this way they're going from body to body to body. And another point is that the Supreme Lord is, He also goes with the jiva and enters into every body. So these 2 points have been stated in various places and various ways throughout the Bhagavad-gita. And that the jiva is dependent upon and subordinate to the Paramatma has also been stressed throughout Bhagavad-gita. So these points are being stressed again and brought together, and leading up to the what would seem the obvious conclusion of Bhagavad-gita, that because the jiva in conditional life is suffering due to not taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, then he should take shelter of the Supreme Lord for his own best interest. So this is the point that's being led up to. Sarvadhaman parityaja mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishami mashuchaha. You can get the translation. Krishna says, surrender unto me exclusively. I will deliver you from all material sinful reactions. Do not fear. Have faith. Be confident. Yeah. Krishna is saying, you're a jiva. I am the Supreme Lord. You have an eternal relationship with me. You are eternally my servant. But you are suffering in this material condition. You do not want to suffer. I also do not want you to suffer. But you have voluntarily taken upon yourself this suffering condition. But I can deliver you from that if only you agree to be delivered. You simply have to recognize my superiority. So you may think, well, this is rather haughty of Krishna. Do you know what haughty means? It means like taking a very high position. If someone comes among us and starts speaking down to us, we think, who is this person? If someone is passing on the street and we walk up to them and say, hey you, just go over that son. Say, who are you to say this to me? What is your authority over me? So it may seem that Krishna is being high-handed. He's demanding total surrender to him. But this is, Krishna is saying, for the jiva's self-interest, not actually for Krishna's own personal interest. Someone says to us, you just do what I said. And we may do so because we are forced to do so. We're afraid that if we don't comply that we'll suffer. Just like some school teacher tells the child, hey, stand up. And the child stands up. He's afraid of being punished otherwise. But people do not like this very much because they feel that the other person is simply exploiting them. But Krishna's demanding us to surrender to him is not for Krishna's own self-interest. It is simply that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the jiva is the eternal servant of Krishna. So the jiva, that means every one of us, we are all individual jivas.
அதனால் ஜீவர்களாக, அதாவது நம்மில் இருக்கும் ஒவ்வொருவரும் நாம் தனித்தனியான ஜீவர்களாக இருக்கும் நிலையில்
the jiva cannot be happy unless he admits his position of subordination to Krishna. So what Krishna is demanding is for our best interest. Krishna is not forcing, but he is simply requesting you surrender to me. If we don't surrender to Krishna, then we can pretend to be independent of Krishna. But then we will have to suffer in this material world. Now maybe you ask that why does Krishna make a suffering condition in this material world? Why isn't everything just nice in this material world? The answer is that we come to this material world due to forgetfulness of Krishna. Our natural position is to love Krishna. There is no reason to come to this material world. But we only come here because we don't want to love Krishna. In other words, we envy Krishna. We're envious of Krishna, and then that envy that is directed towards all other living beings also. And we want to take the position of Krishna as being the Ishvara, as being the controller, the enjoyer. So Krishna gives us facility in this material world that you want to enjoy separately from me, okay, go ahead. But actually we cannot be happy in this material world because it is an unnatural situation. One who is envious of others can never be happy. So we're all trying to establish ourselves as supreme controllers, but then we come into competition with every other living entity. So every jiva is competing with every other jiva to show, I'm the boss, I'm the best, I'm the enjoyer. But actually none of us can be the enjoyer because constitutionally we are servants of Krishna. So then we become frustrated. And therefore our envy of other living beings increases. And we perform activities that are envious, expressing our envy of others. Now there's a new concept introduced into India from the West. Express yourself. This is a modern Western idea. In advanced culture, one is trained to speak according to Shastra. To speak that which is meaningful and beneficial for others. But this express yourself means that whatever nonsense idea comes into your head, impelled by Kam, Krodh, Lobh, etc., you just let it out. Today I'm feeling like a butterfly. I'm expressing myself. So we, in this material world, everything we do is an expression of our envy of Krishna and envy of others. So Krishna gives us full facility to forget Him and to express our aspirations to be the supreme controller and enjoyer. But it doesn't work. We are not enjoyers. And because of envious, spiteful activities towards others, we have to suffer. There is some punishment for the sake of rectification. Punishment rectifies and at least restricts. Punishment, the karmic reactions restrict us from committing further sinful activities. So if we are in the body of a human being and we are performing sinful activities, then we got the body of an animal. So in the body of an animal we can't perform any more sinful activities. Only humans can perform sinful activities because they have more intelligence. An animal is not responsible for his activities. We don't find camels being brought to court for violating the traffic rules. You don't have camels in Tamil Nadu, not much. In Gujarat you see, walking on the road. Or you have these buffaloes. Sometimes a group of buffaloes, they obstruct the traffic. So the buffalo is not taken to court. But you were seen in the middle of the road at 6 o'clock 2 days ago, obstructing the traffic. Do you plead guilty or not guilty? Something like that. They make a noise. They're trying to moo like a cow, but it doesn't really come out like. Why did I become a buffalo? So when we get the body of an animal, that's Krishna's mercy on us. Because we're given the opportunity to fulfill our ridiculous, perverted desires. For instance, we may like to eat meat, but that is not proper food for a human being. So we may get, if we have such a desire, in the next life, we will get the body of a carnivorous animal, such as a lion or a cat or a dog or something like that. And then we can eat meat. Not always. The lion doesn't eat meat, doesn't get the chance very often. Because the animals, what is that? Nahi saptasya, what is that? Nahi saptasya singhasya pravishanti mukhe mrigam. The animals do not walk up to the lion and say, "Dear Mr. Lion, today you can eat me." Rather, they run away. And there's, by nature's arrangement, there is one kind of bird that goes with the flocks of deer. And the bird can understand that the lion is out, and the bird will make such a noise that the deer will understand and they'll all run away. So the lion is many days going hungry. And the dogs, dogs in India, they don't get much opportunity to eat meat. In the West, they get canned dog food. People are very concerned that their dogs are getting enough protein and minerals and vitamins, and on the can it says so much protein, so much vitamin A and all this for your dog, so your dog can be very healthy. So if you like to eat meat, you may in your next life be lucky enough to be born as a dog in America or Britain or other dog-loving countries. And you will not get any karma for eating that meat. How to go to America without a visa? It's still a little expensive because, you have to buy meat and eat it, which is quite expensive. And of course there's no guarantee. You might end up as a dog in India, which is not so much fun. But anyway, you will get the opportunity to fulfill your carnivorous desires without any bad karma. In that situation, one does not create any bad karma. He's simply experiencing a whole life of suffering the result of bad karma. So actually Krishna does fulfill desires. But it may not be in exactly the way we want. Just like someone may want to be the head of their political party. Now the general elections and state elections are coming up again. And again the politicians, after 5 years, all of a sudden they become very concerned with the people. And they come out and they pat babies on heads and promise people all different kinds of things. Because they want to get your vote so they can be the leader. Who will be the next Prime Minister of India? Will it be again Mr. Vajpayee, or will it be Sonia Ji? And there are many others who would like to be. They're thinking, maybe me in future, or at least I could become the chief minister of a state. So many would like to be the leader, but not all can be the leader. So Krishna is very kind. He will give us an opportunity in another life. If you're not able to become the prime minister, or a chief minister, or a DC, district commissioner, or the mayor of a town, or at least the leader of a Congress ward or something like that, or a sarpanch. If you don't, you try all your life and all you get is to become the tea boy at the Congress party meetings. You're thinking, actually I wanted to be the prime minister, but here I am and I'm still only the tea boy. So Krishna is very kind. That you see in the street there are so many dogs running, and one of them is the biggest and the strongest. That was the tea boy at the Congress party meeting previously, who wanted to be the leader. Anyway, we're not against the Congress party, but it may have been another party also. Krishna is kind not only to the Congress failures, he's kind to the BJP failures and Janata party failures and all of them. Everyone gets their chance. There's plenty of opportunity. There are plenty of dogs in India alone, and all the little groups have a little leader. And you see there's among every group of ants, there's the number one queen ant, queen bee, Raja, there's no Raja. If you want to be a feminist, women should be in charge. You can become Queen Bee. This is Krishna's mercy. Ishvara sarva bhutanam yantrarudhani maya. Brahmayan sarva bhutani yantrarudhani maya. We get different kinds of bodies to fulfill different kinds of desires according to our karmic qualification. But no one is happy. In the ant's nest, there are maybe thousands of ants, and they're all serving Queen Ant. Can you imagine having thousands of servants? They're all willing to give their life. Madarte tyakta jivitam. They're all willing to give their life for me to others. Wouldn't that be wonderful? But to be a queen bee or a queen ant, there's nothing enjoyable about that. In Africa, there are the ants, they build huge, out of mud, they build a huge anthill with so many tunnels, and it's very complex arrangement. It's all meant for the service of the queen ant. And there's an animal called an ant-eater. He has got a big nose, bigger than mine. And he doesn't care about the social welfare state of the ants. He just goes right in there and with his big nose breaks up the whole ant's nest and eats all the ants and the eggs and the queen ant. This is material life. We make such nice arrangements, but any time it can all be destroyed and will be destroyed. So whatever way we study, we can find this material world, it is simply miserable. Now, people in the modern age are very much enamored by science. But by studying science, any subject we study, if we study, we should, studying this material world, we should see it's just miserable. If we study biology, what is that study? Jivo jivasya jivanam. That's all. One living being is eating another. We go nice country scene, trees and flowers and birds and river. How nice. But if we study, we'll find all the living beings there are living in fear of being eaten by another. Or if we study history, what is history? It means the history of one country invading another, exploiting another, the history of different people trying to get on top of each other. If we study geography, we study how people in different parts of the world are in various ways eating, sleeping, mating and defending, making elaborate arrangements. The people do so much study, but they can't see the obvious, that this material world is simply full of misery. But when we understand that, then we understand that all this study is useless unless we understand how to get out of this miserable condition. Many people ask, how are these Western people coming to Krishna consciousness? I can say in my own case, I was at school and I realized all this study is completely useless. And when I told one of my teachers it's all useless, he agreed. At least one of the teachers was somewhat intelligent. So what is there in this? You have to study to get a degree so you can get a job, so you can work hard for what? To stay alive for what? So that you can, chase around after women, take some intoxication, die, and what's the point? All educated, they're telling you so many things, but what is the purpose of life? They never even ask the question, therefore they are all fools. You're spending so much money for the education of your children. We will give them better education free. You're sending your children to school so they can get a job, so they can get money, so that they can live happily. We are giving alternative education. How you can be happy. Not by getting money. Not by sense gratification. By surrendering to Krishna. And actually we can see that when people take to Krishna consciousness, they become very happy. But their parents or their relatives do not become happy. They should be happy. Now my child or husband or whatever is happy. They say, no, he should go back to school and study. Why? So he can get a degree. Why? So he can get a job. Why? So he can get money. Why? So he can be happy. He's already happy. So what do you need all that for? So we will give your children the best education. So you get the result immediately without so much kashtam. Will you agree? Children are saying yes, but not the parents. Because they don't believe it. They don't have faith in God. Krishna is very nice. We worship Him so that our children can pass their degree, get a good job. And then we can be happy. But why don't we try to be happy in the way that Krishna wants us to be happy? No. Not like that. Krishna should bless me to be happy in the way I want, not the way He wants. This is not bhakti. This will never give us actual happiness. Actually, we shouldn't even be talking about how we shall be happy. The real devotee only speaks about how we should act in a way that will make Krishna happy. Krishna is always happy, but He'll be more happy if we do what He wants us to do instead of spoiling our lives by becoming cats and dogs. But in our conditioned state, we're always thinking, me, how I can be happy. We never think how I should serve Krishna. I should act only for Krishna's satisfaction. So because we have this diseased, wrong outlook on life, therefore Krishna says, look, just surrender to me, I'll look after you, then you'll be happy. But actually the jiva, he should voluntarily serve. Yes, Krishna, you are my master, I want to serve you. Actually, if we do that, then we shall be happy. But as long as we're thinking how I shall be happy, we cannot fully give ourselves to Krishna. If we fully give ourselves to Krishna, then certainly we shall be happy. But if our main motive is how I shall be happy, then we can never fully give ourselves to Krishna. So this is why it's actually, although this philosophy of Krishna consciousness is very simple, it's very difficult for most people to understand. Because we have this perverted attitude towards life. So therefore we recommend the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Therefore we recommend the chanting of. So instead of thinking of nan, is that right? Nan, me. By chanting, then we start to think Krishna, yes, Krishna, I'm supposed to be serving Krishna. This will purify our consciousness. We would like that people should praise us. And we like to think about my needs, my desires. But chanting Hare Krishna transfers our consciousness to consciousness of Krishna. In other words, this purifies our consciousness, because purified consciousness means to be conscious of Krishna. So it's easy to understand, isn't it? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's the Supreme Enjoyer. We are not enjoyers. We are constitutionally servants. We shall be happy by serving Krishna. It's not that we become like some slave who's being whipped. But we cannot be happy if we don't serve Krishna. And if we don't serve Krishna, then we get whipped by Maya, thinking that we're independent. So we should change our whole outlook on life to understand that I'm simply meant to serve Krishna. And that can be done by chanting Hare Krishna and regularly hearing about Krishna. Specifically, we should hear about Krishna, about how we are constitutionally servants of Krishna. Many of you may have noticed that the lectures at the ISKCON center is different to the lectures that other kinds of Swamis give. Did any of you notice that the lectures here, they're different? Anyone felt like that? Anyone noticed? There's another hand there.
Some of them, one or two of them were
At the back, yeah. Okay. Well, actually, we hope you forget all those other lectures and just come to these lectures, because all those, whatever anyone else is saying is useless, to be quite frank, or worse than useless. Because they're not teaching you to be the servant of Krishna. And even if they tell stories of Krishna, it's done as a kind of entertainment so that we can enjoy it. We don't imbibe the mood of surrendered service to Krishna. Therefore we say that what all these swamis and yogis, what they're saying is all useless, it's worse than useless, it's cheating and it's rascalry. This is not our dogmatism or sectarianism, but we're just pointing out the fact, that's all. That anyone who purports to teach us but doesn't teach us to surrender to Krishna is simply cheating us. So someone who is supposed to be teaching religious knowledge but doesn't teach us the actual fact that we are all servants of Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then they themselves are ignorant and they're cheating because they are purporting to teach. If someone says, you just take this mantra and it will solve all your problems, then they're cheating unless they teach us the Mahamantra. People come, oh, I have headache and some financial problem. Oh, don't worry, God will bless you and your headache will go away, financial problem will go away. It's all cheating. The only duty of a Swami or Sadhu or Guru is to teach us to surrender to Krishna.
Or a Swami or
Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any question about this? No question. Yeah. Okay. All right. Many of you are coming here. Right? Does everyone here have a copy of Bhagavad-gita Unmay Auravil or Bhagavad-gita Yatharup? Hindi balne wale hain ke liye? Who has got a copy of Bhagavad-gita in their home? Bhagavad-gita as it is, or Bhagavad-gita Yatharup, or Bhagavad-gita Unmay Auravil. हिंदी में आपके पास है? हिंदी बोलने वाले भी हैं? भगवद गीता यथारूप एक बहुत सारे भगवद गीता संस्करण है, लेकिन प्रभुपाद की हमारे पास है, आपके पास हिंदी इंग्लिश बहुत वर्जन है, ठीक है. All right. If anyone doesn't have in their home,
Bhagavad Gita
not Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita Unmay Auravil, then it's useless. Who does not have in their home? Who does not have? Please raise your hand. All right. Well, the children, what do they need? So we are recommending that if you don't want to spoil your human form of life, if you want to make your human life successful, you must read Bhagavad Gita as it is. This human form of life is very rare. We can perfect it by understanding Bhagavad Gita as it is, not by reading these editions which are simply misrepresenting Bhagavad Gita. So if you don't have this book, you please come and take one. If you like, I can also sign it.
In case we go and suggest to them, chant Mahamantra, generally people say that this is something to be done at the last stages of life. Why you are asking us to do it immediately?
We should enjoy ourselves, and then when we have no energy left, then we should pray to God. Is this what we learn from Prahlad Maharaj? Is this what we learn from Dhruva Maharaj? This is not a good policy. Who knows when death will come? So many people are dying in train accidents and road accidents and home accidents or sudden heart attack. So better chant while you can. We may not get an opportunity. If we suddenly die and then we go into the animal species, we may not get a chance for many millions of births. So there's a saying, Shubhasya Shigram. That which is auspicious should be done quickly, soon. You can tell them that we'll come with a gun and shoot you tomorrow, so you better start chanting now. What is required to get people to chant? Such people, when they become old, if you ask them to chant Hare Krishna, they'll say, "Oh, I'm old, why are you disturbing me now? Let me just watch TV." They're not sincere.